And hello there, welcome back to another official DOIJ podcast episode. So, by the way, I do want to apologize for every time I do that. I just have the fear that when I start the podcast, I'll actually have my mic muted. So I just like to make sure that it is not. Yeah, welcome to the, I believe, episode 9 of the official DOIJ podcast. Today we are joined by our lovely co-host, Stephanie Plays Vlogs. Her YouTube channel is in the description below. It should be the very first link. So please do go ahead and give her a subscribe.
Hello, everybody.
Could you imagine if you could do subscribe with with emotions? Like when it says subscribe, it would say, what emotion would you like to send with? It's like angry subscribe, like, I hate you and I'm gonna subscribe anyway.
Yeah. I haven't gotten a notification live yet.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Probably my fault.
Yeah, we're gonna have to try and figure that out during the meeting today. Hello there, thank you for joining. We are now. So Stephanie, you just seen and got arrested. What was that all about?
Petty theft and intoxication. Both misdemeanors. Both misdemeanors. Petty theft and stuff like that. Oh, pardon me. Right now, it's been interesting. I've done some interesting scenes today, to be honest.
Said you have or have not? Because I don't do interesting scenes like ever, so I'm gonna try, but they never are. How I've ever advanced to where I am, I have no idea.
I've got stuff popping in my department. Yay.
Why do you always have, it's kind of funny, because first off, her department, for those of you who don't know, she is the head of fire and EMS. And it's kind of funny because, it's kind of ironic, really, because she always has fire going down and fire EMS where she needs to go put out, but there's never really a fire in RP, like in the roleplay server. So, okay, well, at least whenever I go fire EMS, there's like never anything going on. So.
Yeah, we're working on it.
2K is not there, and yes, Stephanie is there. Stephanie is here. She is here with me. So, yeah, the lovely Stephanie.
It's just me and Zach in the chat at the moment.
Sorry, what?
It's only quite a few others, but I almost took out an AI.
Or did the AI almost hit you?
I almost hit the AI one up.
Of course. Ooh, yes, I do, please. Like I said, I thought you guys want to play GTA. Yeah, sorry. I was upstairs, and I came downstairs with not really enough time to actually put in GTA and start it. And then, of course, I remembered that I actually do have GTA in, but that was like 5 minutes before we started the podcast, so too late to start it up.
And the DOIJ session, technically, I can't live stream, don't have a live stream role.
Hey, zombie. Come on, guys, be nice. So, if you all have been listening into the last 2 podcasts, possibly the last 30 podcasts, there is a staff meeting going down today, shortly after this podcast ends, and So changes will be coming to the podcast server, and and we will be notifying y'all of a few things as well as those changes. Well, I guess the changes will be what we will be notifying you of. So do stay tuned for that. We'll put those in announcements.
After.
All but one podcast. Well, don't forget, if you miss a podcast, you can go ahead and it should be on the channel. There actually should be a playlist with the majority of the podcasts that we have done. So if you miss a podcast, go to the channel. It should be there.
Oh my! I just fell in a ditch.
You fell in a ditch. What? That's Stephanie for you, everybody. Just falling in ditches. That's what she does best.
I want to bake when it's dark out, okay? No, I'm not. I was going to do a scene, but no.
So the mic is really low.
That might be better since the headphones up.
Let's see this. For you guys in the P2 service. That will be one of the conversations, yes. You guys are being too young. I don't know. I actually use the flaming spear because I use the spear because it's actually quicker. You don't have to get right up in their face, and I use it on fire because then I can, if I get the meter above their head to where they're on fire, and then that's doing additional damage. So it helps the big boss that I'll have to fight in a minute. No, of course not. No, actually, it increases or decreases the time of them dying. It actually makes it a lot faster. So, at least a little faster anyway. There will actually be a way that you all can join. That should be figured out by the end of this weekend, hopefully. But like I said, we'll be discussing hopefully a lot of things at today's podcast. Not podcast, today's staff meeting. So, not there. Okay. I like cows. Cows are awesome. They give us milk. And the cows that don't give us milk give us the cows that do give us milk, or help give us cows that do give us milk. Oh, sorry, I didn't see one before, because I have no one doing away. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a Battlefield server, from what I hear. I have not been in it. But,
there is a Battlefield server.
Yeah, so, join the interview server and then, ask someone there. I mean, well, I guess if you can't join the interview server, and, just follow the chain of command and, tell them that, you were banned for being too young, but, now you're old enough and, you would, like to go to the ban appeal server to appeal your ban. Because I don't really have any access to the ban appeal server at all. So, Yeah. Okay, can't even join that. If you're on the Discord, go ahead and send me a DM, and I will. I'll. Stephanie's
there's something.
so.
Have some people that are in the MVP server that are in.
What, Poet? What's up? And what's happening?
We do have interview server staff in the podcast server. I'm gonna drive up this.
Awesome, dude. Police trainer in training.
I'm giving Farney a massive C-nut.
Nice.
So I might be late.
Yeah, so we'll try to
Oh, sweet.
I'm not checking the message until I'll talk to somebody in the.
I'm probably.
Well, I should probably discuss it. I don't know. Well, I'll try and get that figured out for you, man. All right. I don't know exactly how right now, but I will absolutely try. No promises that I'll be able to, as I ain't really anybody anywhere, but.
God, the 911 pings.
Podcast waiting room is for when we are going to allow you all to join the podcast. So yeah, it's basically when we figure all that out, that'll be the room you all go to. You know, when we tell you can join the podcast, and then we'll just drag you in here. Because y'all will not be able to just actively join it. We'll have to drag you in, most likely. And yeah. So I think that's how we're going to be doing it. Again, that will all be discussed in the staff meeting that will be happening pretty shortly. It's taking form. I guess I'm starting to do it. Let's see here. I think we should have an article or two we can read off. Let me see. Articles. Alright, what one might be... just...
Wow.
I think this one is the one I want to read. I'm not entirely sure. Well, I mean, I won't read all of them out, but yeah. Alright, yes. This is the one that I thought was awesome. Just finish this real quick.
I love taking the piss out of some of my guys in my department.
What?
I call someone in my department a furry just to annoy him.
Alright, we'll pause that for now. Alright, so this article is brought to us by BBC.com, and I think it was posted a few days ago, and the title is Ebola drugs show 90% survival rate in a breakthrough trial. And here's the article. The article reads, Ebola may soon be a preventable and treatable disease after a trial of 2 drugs showed significantly improved survival rates, scientists have said. 4 drugs were trialed on patients in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where there's a major outbreak of the virus. More than 90% of infected people can survive if treated early with the most effective drugs, the research showed. The drugs will now be used to treat all patients with the disease in DR Congo, according to health officials. On Tuesday, 2 people cured of Ebola using the experimental drugs were released from a treatment center in Goma, eastern DR Congo, and reunited with their families. The U.S. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, or NIAID, which co-sponsored the trial, said the results are very good news for the fight against Ebola. The drugs, named RGN-EB3 and MAB114, work by attacking the Ebola virus with antibodies neutralizing its impact on human cells. They are the first drugs that in a scientifically sound study have clearly shown a significant diminution in mortality for Ebola patients, said Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of NIAID. The drug MAB114 was developed using antibodies harvested from survivors of Ebola, while RGN-EB3 comes from antibodies generated within mice infected with the disease. Ebola has killed more than 1,800 people in DR Congo in the past year. 2 other treatments called ZMapp and Remdesivir have been dropped from trials as they were found to be less effective. What were the results of the trial? The trial, conducted by an international research group coordinated by the World Health Organization, or WHO, kind of funny there, began in November last year. So I guess you could call the World Health Organization Doctor Who. There's reference there. Since then, 4 experimental drugs have been tested on around 700 patients, with the preliminary results from the first 499 now known. Of the patients given the 2 more effective drugs, 29% on RGN-EB3 and 34% on MAB114 died, NIAID said. In contrast, 49% on ZMapp and 53% on Remdesivir died in the study, the agency said. The survival rate among patients with low levels of the virus in their blood was as high as 94% when they were given REGN-EB3 and 89% when on MAB114, the agency said. The findings mean health authorities can stress to people that more than 90% of people survive if they are treated early, said Sabal Malangu, an infectious disease researcher who worked on the trial. Now, before I keep reading this, I know people are going to be like, well, why are you testing these drugs on humans? What's wrong with you? Well, these people, without these tests, if no one tests these drugs, they're not going to survive. I mean, that's the facts. No one survives Ebola unless given the right drug at the right stage. I mean, so they're trying to save their lives, and to do that, they got to test drugs against each other to see which one is the best, or which ones are the best, to know which ones to try and save more lives in the future. So, before y'all get up in arms about them testing drugs, they're not doing any harm. Because people that die, yeah, it's sad that they died, but they would have died if they hadn't received any drugs. They haven't really been sacrificed because they didn't really try to kill them. But you know, in a way, their death will help people in the future to survive Ebola, because eventually there will be a drug that completely cures it from, you know, everything. So, or not from everything, but you know what I mean. Hopefully you know what I mean. 2K has school. Yes, 2K does have school. What impacts could the drugs have? Hailing the success of the study, Jeremy Farrar, director of the Wellcome Trust Global Health Charity, said the treatments would undoubtedly save lives. The findings for our Farrar, I think is how it said. Sorry if I'm botching any of these names. Probably botching all of them, so I do apologize. But the findings, Mr. Farrar said, indicate scientists are getting closer to turning Ebola into a preventable and treatable disease. Now, we won't ever get rid of Ebola, but we should be able to stop these outbreaks from turning into major national and regional epidemics, he added. Since that Ebola is incurable, paired with widespread mistrust of medical workers in the DR Congo, has hampered efforts to stop the spread of the disease. It is hoped that with the effectiveness of the drugs made by U.S.-based pharmaceutical firms, will make patients feel more comfortable about seeking care early, said Dr. Fauci. But the best way to end the outbreak, he added, is with a good vaccine. The vaccine is a type of medicine that improves immunity to a particular disease as a preventative measure. Dr. WHO, again, the World Health Organization, say that vaccines developed to protect against Ebola, which allowed for compassionate use before official licensing, have proven highly effective. And how serious is the DR Congo outbreak? The current outbreak in eastern DR Congo began in August last year and is the biggest of the 10 to hit the country since 1976. So that's 10 in 43 years, I believe. Which may not sound like a lot, but that's a lot. That's 10 outbreaks in 40 years. When the virus was first discovered. In July, the WHO declared the Ebola crisis in the country a public health emergency of international concern. But it is dwarfed by the West African epidemic of 2014-2016, which affected 28,616 people, mainly in Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. About 11,380 people died in what was the largest outbreak of the virus ever recorded. However, attempts to contain the latest outbreak are proving difficult. In particular, militia group violence and suspicion towards foreign medical assistance have hindered efforts. Earlier this month, 3 Congolese doctors were arrested in DR Congo over the killing of a WHO medic. A Congolese? Yeah. About 200 health facilities have been attacked in the country this year, causing disruption to vaccinations and treatments. In one incident, family members assaulted health workers who were overseeing the burial of their relative. A 2018 study published in the Lancet Medical Journal says belief in misinformation was widespread concerning the Ebola outbreak. What is Ebola? Ebola is a virus that initially causes sudden fever, intense weakness, muscle pain, and a sore throat. It progresses to vomiting, diarrhea, and both internal and external bleeding. People are infected when they have direct contact to broken skin or the mouth and nose with the blood, vomit, feces, or bodily fluids of someone with Ebola. Patients tend to die from dehydration and multiple organ failure. So, yeah, big, very, very serious thing. So, yeah, what's your opinion? Oh, as I see she has left. So, yeah, something that is very, very serious. Alright, so I'm glad that's finally, bringing an end to that, so to speak. I mean, obviously, like they said, Ebola is not going to be completely gone, but they can at least make it a curable disease eventually. And, Dripper King. King, that's a very good question. What was the first job you had, and what did you have to do, and what was it like in Discord, DOIJ? Well, I'm going to tell you the first two because the first one was actually kind of boring. And I didn't really have to do a whole lot. The first job I ever had was at a fruit market, which is out in Grapeseed. I basically had to stand there for hours on end to, get paid basically. So, that wasn't a whole lot of fun. But the second job I had after that was, I can't remember who owned it, but it was I got a job at the Sandy Shores gas station as a gas station / mechanic. So, that was fun. People would come up and, we'd interact, fill the car with gas, they would pay, then they would leave, left me all alone. But, there were other people that worked there that would clock in sometimes, which was nice. And on occasion, I would RP fixing someone's car, which, obviously you can't actually, fix it because it's not 5M. This is PS4 I'd play on. But, we do the best we can. So, yeah. So, that's what that was. If anybody has any more questions, I will be reading the chats. What is that own disease? How do you have, my friend? Let's see here. You know what? Yeah, I'll drag in here. We have a few more minutes anyway. I don't mind dragging into the podcast room. Or to the studio anyway. Let's see. Hey, Jennifer, can you speak? Hello? Hey, Poet, can you speak? No, yeah, probably cannot. Alright, which one of the reasons I wasn't really going to do it yet, so I'm not entirely sure about that. But, yeah, so, that's great. Alright, well, looks like we're actually just about out of time. This podcast is ending early because I do have a staff meeting in 30 minutes, so if you have not done so already, please go ahead and click the first link to subscribe to our wonderful co-host, who is probably getting arrested in RP again, so she probably has to leave to get arrested again, or she's getting pulled over because she cannot not speed. So yeah, that's always fun. Let's see who's commented. Oh, okay, not that. Yes, I did. I have not looked at it yet, because, I wanted to kind of stay up there, until I can chat with somebody about that. Just kind of remind me that, I need to help you with that. Sorry. So, yeah, do go ahead and, subscribe to Stephanie Plays Vlogs. She is an amazing YouTuber, an amazing co-host. And don't forget, if you do want to join the Discord server, which I do suggest you join the DOIJ podcast server, that will be the second link in the description. And then if you want to join the roleplay server, we have PS4, Xbox One, and 5M GTA 5 roleplay. We also have PS4 and Xbox One Red Dead 2 roleplay. Now I will warn you that the Red Dead 2 roleplay is going to be a little difficult. Almost it's not going to be that great, but that's only because we don't have the invite-only lobbies like we do in GTA, which basically means that we'll try to RP, but 99% of the time, someone will find the people that are trying to roleplay, trying to have fun, and we'll just start killing them. We'll start a shootout and a hog tie out, if that's what you want to even call it. I don't know. But yeah, go ahead and do all that, please. All of it's totally worth it. And of course, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell so you know next time we go live with the official DOIJ podcast. Again, we do podcast every 12 hours, 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I do try to tell you all at least 30 minutes to an hour ahead of time before we go live. We do some community voting every once in a while. So please do join the podcast server so you can be a part of all that. So stay tuned, stay awesome. Thank you all so much for listening in. And as always, we will catch you next time.